In these problems, we are factoring quadratic expressions, except we've got two variables. So you can see we have an x squared here, but we also have this y squared and an xy term in the middle. So how do we go about factoring this? Well, the method you should use for a problem like this is just to ignore the y at first and rewrite this with just the x. So that would be x squared minus x minus 30. And then see if you can factor that. And then later, after we're done factoring, we'll put the y back in, and then we'll FOIL this out to check. So how can we factor this? Well, we've got a negative here, so we're going to have a positive and a negative, because the only way to get a negative in that last term is to have these two numbers, one being positive, one being negative. And then whatever goes in these two numbers has to multiply out to be negative 30 and add up to be negative 1, because we've got negative x here, so that's a coefficient of 1. So let's see, 5 times 6 is 30, so if I put a positive 5 and a negative 6, those are going to multiply out to be negative 30, they're going to add up to be negative 1. So I've successfully factored this. Now, to make this factors of this thing, I just need to put a y in on each of the second terms. And if you're not sure about why that works, you can just FOIL this out to check. The way I usually think about this is kind of two quadratics, one going this direction and one going this direction. And if we put the y in here, we're going to have both quadratics represented. Let's just go ahead and FOIL this just to double check. So the first terms, x times x, would be x squared. The outside terms, x times negative 6y, would be minus 6xy. The inside terms, 5y times x, would be positive 5xy. And the last terms, 5y times a negative 6y, would be negative 30y squared. And you can see these middle two terms add up to just a negative 1xy. And we've got x squared minus xy minus 30y squared. So it looks like our method worked. Let's try this again on this second problem. We have x squared plus 8xy minus 33y squared. So let's just ignore the y to start with. X squared plus 8x minus 33. Well, our choices here, we've got a negative, so we're going to have one positive and one negative again. Our choices here, we don't have a lot of factors of 33. It looks like it has to be 11 and 3. 3 times 11 is 33. So if I make the 3 negative and the 11 positive, 11 minus 3, that adds up to 8. It multiplies out to negative 33, so that looks right. And then, to get the factors for this quadratic we started with, we just put the y in here and here. And again, if you want to FOIL that out to check, you'll see that it comes out to this original quadratic. So that is how to factor a quadratic in two variables.